Okay, here's a look at the tail cone, and what I need to do is make a hole that's going to go through here and then come out here. And the reason for that is because in order for the wires to get to the motors, they have to go through here, and in order for them to get to the speed controller, they got to go up through the fuselage and wind up near the battery bay. So this is the wire I'm using. It's a number 12 wire, and it's silicone wire, so it's pretty flexible. But more importantly, I need to be able to chase 3 wires through the hole. You need a couple of things. First, you need a Dremel tool, then you need a length of wire, and then you need some form of hole maker, if you will. This was a piece of steel that I had that just happens to be tapered. I guess it doesn't really have to be tapered, but it needs to be heavy. You want something with a little weight to it. So what I did was I actually took the wire and I bent it in the shape that it needed to be bent in order to wind up through and out the hole here. Okay, now that I have that piece hot, I'm going to very carefully pick it up. I'm going to set it on my wire, and the idea is that it's going to fall through, and it's melting the foam as it goes, and now it should be about ready to drop out the bottom, and there it is. And now I can take out my wire, and we have the hole. So I have the hole here and the hole there, and then it's just like the one I did on the other side. Here to here, and here to there. Now you want to do this outside because this foam is very toxic, and also you're messing with a piece of hot material. Now here's a look at those 2 holes, and they are in fact curved around. I cleaned them up a little bit, and they're ready for the wiring. Here's a look at the engines mounted to the tail cone, and this is a dry fit, so there's no glue yet, but eventually whenever I get finished and get ready to glue it up, this plate here and these blocks of hardwood will be epoxied in place, along with the plate in the back here. That'll be epoxied in place. Absolutely no problem to push that wire up, and I will be eliminating the bullets here, so this wire will actually hug tight to the housing. Here I'm removing the shrink wrap from the bullet connectors so that I can solder them directly to the wire. And the tool that I'm using to do this, you could cut it with an X-Acto blade, but and of course this here can be dangerous too because you're working with a sharp object, but I can assure you this won't do near the damage to you that an X-Acto blade would do. But the idea is, if you get this point, this is a seam ripper you can pick up at Wally World or Kmart or somewhere, but you just simply work it under and push it, and it'll cut the shrink wrap. You just want to be careful and not stab yourself, but like I say, you know, there's lots of ways you can do it. I myself, when I'm removing shrink wrap, I like to use the seam ripper. I find it to be a little safer than that X-Acto blade. But anyway, you can see that I've made quick work of removing the shrink wrap. At this point I have the tail cone together. The nacelles are taped on. The vertical fin and horizontal stabilizer, they are mounted, and the wires have been ran. And the reason for this mock-up is to make sure that I did not have any issues when it came to running the wires after the fuselage was together. And because of the way that I did the chases for the motor wires, I had no problems putting the wires in place. So now I will build the rudder and elevators, and then I will dry fit those, and then the tail cone and parts here will be ready to sand and cover.